is possible to heal sexual trauma completely and to come out the other side feeling happy, confident, safe in your body, and fostering deep, loving relationships with yourself and all those around you. Welcome, my beautiful friends. My name is Dana, and today I'm going to share with you my journey through healing sexual trauma and 3 of the most important keys that I learned that have helped me come out of the other side of the dark tunnel that is healing sexual trauma, and to really dive deep into the healing and to release the memories, release the energy from my body, and to be free. When I started this journey, it felt so far away from me, feeling actually happy and confident and safe in my body. But I'm here to tell you that if you, for one thing, you are so brave for diving into this work. And if you continue to heal, and if you have experienced sexual trauma and you do this deep work, you will come out the other side. So before I get into the video, I just wanted to share as a disclaimer that this video is in no way a substitution for seeking professional help. Through my journey, the most important things for me that allowed me to feel safe enough to open up and heal were seeking out therapists, support groups, close friends and family that I could rely on. There's so many different resources, books, YouTubers, Teal Swan, I'm going to talk about her, I love her. And yeah, so just really, if you are opening this up and you're just starting to kind of look at the fact, like maybe I have sexual trauma I need to heal, that's so brave of you and that's so amazing, but I do encourage you to seek out additional support. So let's get into it. So I wanted to begin by sharing with you my journey through healing sexual trauma. So I experienced sexual trauma from the ages of about 5 to 10, and this video is going to be centered around healing childhood sexual trauma. And I suppressed most of the trauma. After the age of 10, one of the main perpetrators of the abuse was my father, who passed away when I was 10. So when he passed away, I sort of buried and suppressed everything. And it only cracked open for me later when other traumas kind of triggered this massive awakening. So it was when I was 18, going on 19, it was another trauma trigger where I lost my house in a fire, and it brought up pretty much all of my trauma and sort of smacked me in the face and said, you have to look at this now and you have to deal with this. So I started to remember the things that had happened, to get memories back. And the first tip that I want to share, the first key that I discovered only after I did a certain amount of healing, was that you can't force this process, and you can't go into it with the mentality of like, I'm gonna just weed this out and get rid of it, because oftentimes that does not work. For me, I just thought, okay, I'm not gonna be happy until I heal this, so I need to really go within myself, analyze it, figure out exactly what happened. But the thing is, your psyche is this highly, highly intelligent force, and it will only release to you memories as you are ready for them. So you will never remember more things than you are ready for. But if you are remembering, or you have always kind of had certain memories in mind where you think, okay, that wasn't right, I think something might have happened there, then trust that and go with it, because your psyche is releasing it because you are ready. And along those lines, it is so important to balance your healing, to balance this healing process. So it's easy to fall into this groove, which I kind of fell into, which is like, okay, I just need to marathon heal and I'm not going to focus on anything else in my life. But then you start to get really out of balance. Oh, there's a butterfly. It was pretty. This is such a pretty space I'm in. There's like hummingbirds everywhere. Anyway, it's so important to, and that was a perfect example. Like, I'm talking about this deep healing thing, but then I was also able to recognize the beauty of the space around me. So while you're going through your healing journey, remember that it is so important to focus on the healing and to dive deep, but also to remember to do the things that make you happy, to build your life up in other ways. Because here's your healing, here's every other aspect and area of your life. If you do this, these aspects and these areas fall away from you. So it's really important, even though you might want to invest all of your time into healing this, to bring this back up and to create more of a balance. Let's see. So the second tip that I want to share, and this is probably the most important thing that I have utilized during my healing journey with healing sexual trauma, so I actually learned this from Teal Swan, and she's this amazing writer, speaker, YouTuber, badass powerhouse of a woman. And she talks about in her book, The Completion Process, say you already have some kind of memory or some kind of feeling that's coming up to the surface. Now, the important thing to do, and something I think a lot of people might confuse, is you actually go into the center of the emotion, the memory, the feeling. And oftentimes that is the scariest part, and that may be the part that you want to do under the guidance of a therapist, which I did in a lot of different areas of my healing. So it's where you have some kind of conceptualization, some kind of feeling of the experience. You sit with it, maybe meditate, and visualize going into the center of the feeling. Going into, and you may feel tremendous fear at first. You may remember more about the memory. You may get flashbacks, body memories, which is why it can be a really valuable tool, at least in the beginning, to do this process under the supervision of, or the guidance of, a therapist. But what happens when you go into the center of the memory is that you are no longer unconsciously identified with it. So what that means is that you go into the center of it, you deal with the fear, anything that wants to come up, you ride out those emotions, you become the awareness within the center of that memory, and therefore that memory no longer is able to control you, to trigger you, at least not as bad. And it opens up a whole new level of strength. Once you go to the center of these emotions, the center of these memories, it is the quickest, albeit maybe painful and scary, but you got to go through it. You can't heal any other way than going through it. And you are strong enough if your psyche is giving you the memory. So you will build a tremendous amount of strength from knowing that you can go into these memories, heal them, and release them. So once you go into this memory, especially if you are healing childhood sexual abuse, this leads into my third and final key that I have used, which is you want to do so much inner child healing work. So you will find that as you go into this process of you allow the memory to come up, you go into the center of the memory, the center of the feeling, and then what you will find, especially if you're healing childhood trauma, is you will find a part of yourself, a child part of yourself that was once wounded or hurt. And in this case, it is such an important and beautiful opportunity to reconnect with this childhood part of yourself and to go in and to visualize holding your inner child, telling them you love them, that they're safe, maybe visualizing the memory burning away. In in the future, I'm going to make meditations that are all about going in, healing the inner child, burning away the energy and the memory. So be sure to subscribe if you want to get in on that action. But yeah, third and final tip is inner child work, and sitting with loving, feeling, and holding the parts of you that were once wounded, and parenting yourself. Thank you for watching. Being a survivor of sexual abuse and sexual assault myself, I have so much gratitude and admiration for anyone who is going through this type of healing work and who chooses to actually heal and embrace it. And I just wanted to share with you guys that there really is light at the end of the tunnel. There was a time for me when I lost it. I couldn't interact with people. I was like bubbling over with so much anxiety. I didn't know what was real. Through this process, you're going to feel feelings of confusion, fear, doubt, guilt, blame. And I just want to remind you that none of those feelings are yours to carry. Yes, you may feel them, but ultimately, if you were once a victim of childhood sexual abuse, you did nothing wrong, and there was nothing that you could have done to prevent it. So I hope that this story and these keys that I discovered will help you to at least open up and dive into your healing at a deeper level. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support and for sharing this journey with me. Love you. I hope.